so much.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're live now.
Have a good night. Say bye, honey. He has to get ready for school. Beanie, he has to get ready for school
You're
tomorrow.
live now.
Hey, everyone. Happy
Happy Sunday.
Feliz
Feliz
domingo a todos. So we're on here on StreamYard. We're going to check it out. So please mind the errors or whatever.
Yes.
No, we're doing live right now. Okay, so just sit down. So yeah, guys. So again, we're just trying it out.
Yeah, we
We're
are going to
checking it out.
continue with our Spooktember
Yes.
stories. If you would like to tell your Spooktember story, then yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
What
yeah.
is that?
Again, we're just playing around with it, guys.
Yeah, we're
so
just
please
checking
have
it
some
out.
patience. All right.
Also.
Excuse me. So let's continue with our Spooktember stories of the evening. Tonight's evening stories are going to be about hairstylist spooky stories. All right.
Yes.
Which one should we start with first?
Well,
Why don't you tell them about the one you were just telling us? Telling me
just
about
that
the
one?
guy.
all right.
On the run guy.
Okay, so I was working at this one salon. And the whole theme of the salon is like all sporty and all that. So you get different levels of type of treatment, hair wash, the haircut include all that. So you pay extra little things for these services. Okay. So we're all, it's a nice weekend and it's going great. It's nice and busy. And then all of a sudden we get a phone call from, oh gosh, it was another stylist at a different salon across town. It was like, hey, there's some weirdo that's like on the loose. The police is looking for him. He went and like hit up the shop next to us. It's like at the subway, and I guess the guy had been roaming around to different places like Starbucks. I don't know what he was doing. They just said he's crazy, so he ran from the police. What? Like he ran from the police, so we're just letting you guys know. Like, all right. So by the time the receptionist, she gets off the phone, she lets us all know, and I'm like, did you get a description of the guy? They're like, no, just some guy. They don't. And then I'm like, all right. So when we're looking outside the windows and the doors, we're like, no, I don't think anybody. So this guy comes in, and I had spotted him. He was coming from across the street, and I'm like, I bet that's the guy. I'm like, I've been seeing him around town, and I'm not sure if he's like a transient, like a homesteader or anything, but I'm like, I do see he's like a little weird. Like he's just talking to himself, long hair, and a good looking guy too. But anyways, I'm like, I think that's the guy. I'm like, lock that door. And they're like, no, because you can't. I'm like, lock the door. And so guess what happened? It was a little too late for that. The guy had already came in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is the guy. And all the stylists were like, oh, hi, can we help you? He locks the door behind him. Oh my gosh. There's 6 of us stylists. One was a male, and they were just like, what the heck? And I'm like, that's the guy. That must be the guy that they're looking for. And so he locks the door, and he's looking.
Why were your guys' keys in the door?
No, he locks it like because there was a certain lock. You just
the little
the manual
latch,
one. You don't need the key for that one because there's 2 types of ways you could
Yes.
lock the door, with key or just
Yes.
like manually. So the stylists were like, hi, would you like a haircut? And he had long hair, and he was just standing there. He didn't say anything. I'm like, that's the fucking guy, dude. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, call the police then, or what the fuck? And they're like, excuse me, do you need a haircut? And the guy was just standing there. And then the stylist, I'm like, you go do something, dude. You're the man here. You're the fucking. He's a man, and he was like, I'm not gonna get him. I'm like, oh, pussy. And then the other stylists were like, oh my gosh, what do we do? I'm like, well, there's a back door, guys. Let's get the F out of here. If not, I'm leaving all you guys because I'm not gonna stay around for this. So I don't even know what everyone was stalling for. And this guy, so then I go over there. I'm like, hi, sir. May I help you? Do you need a haircut? He's like, yeah, my name is J Dog something and it's something. He was like rapping. I'm like, all right. It's all good. All right. I'm like, stupid idiots. I'm like, that's the fucking guy. Like, so anyways, he's looking out there and we're hearing sirens, police. And next thing you know, I called her. I'm like, hey, this is going down. If anything, just meet me out in the back. I'm going to leave because everybody's being stupid here. Everyone's just stalling. Yes. Obviously, something's off. Frozen. This guy, even though no one even went to call the police or like try to confirm, hey, this is the guy. So what ends up happening, one of the employees, whatever, she finally is like, you know what? I'm just going to call the police and just see and guess what? She calls the police. They're like, yeah, can you give us a description? She gives them the description, like, that's the guy. I'm like, oh, I told you guys. So she's like, oh, yeah, he's in here. He's not leaving. He's just standing around. He locked the door. And from there, they waited around and the police was coming. So when the police got there, of course, the guy tried like running through the salon. So we were kind of just, I didn't even know what the stylists were doing. They were just trying to make small talk with him. But anyways, the police did come. They had their guns out and they were like, open this door. So no, they got smart and we let them in from the back door. So that's how they came in. They like kind of ambushed him, but that's what he gets. Um, and yeah, there wasn't too many customers in there or nothing, so that was good. But yeah, I just thought that was it was really, I think it was really stupid on a lot of the employees' part. And like I told them ahead of time, hey, lock that door. That guy across the street, I have a feeling that that's the guy because I have seen him around town and he has been acting a little strange. So yeah, that could have been prevented, but they didn't listen to me, and so the guy had already walked in. But yeah, it was creepy that he locked us in. Well, them in the front, but because we had an exit door in the back. However, it was. I just thought that was really dumb on their part. Go with your gut feeling, and they didn't listen. And yeah, it could have been all bad, but good thing the guy wasn't like he wasn't armed. I don't think he had any weapons on him. But he was like under the influence of something. Yeah, and they arrested him and all that. And he was
so rapping.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was doing all that, and they had to put one of those the nets, the spit nets and all that. So that was one creepy one.
Okay, so that's that one. The next one is the one again. I was working at the salon, and we used to be super busy at the salon. So we were always we were the latest closing shop. We were in a shopping center, but we were the latest. We would close the latest. Us and a clothing store that was across the parking lot. And so there was a supermarket. There's a lot of restaurants and stuff in the shopping center. But once the evening would come, we didn't close until 9 o'clock. So us, the salon, and the clothing store across the street were the ones that closed at 9 o'clock. So it was just really interesting that day because it was around this time. The time change had just happened and stuff, and it was weird because I noticed that once it got dark, they had lights on, and normally me and the girl at the front desk, it was really weird the way that the position was of the building was if I was standing at the receptionist, because I didn't cut hair yet, I was the receptionist. So I was at the receptionist front desk, and it was weird because I could see the girl from the cash register on the other side across the front. Yeah. And sometimes we'd like wave at each other, or if we'd be closing, like we'd wave at each other. And so anyways, so then I thought it was strange that I saw light, and then towards like maybe half an hour before closing, I saw that it was dark. There was no light on in the building.
So you thought they closed early?
And I thought they closed early. I'm like, maybe something happened, because there's when you work in a shopping center like that, usually there's like a plumbing issue, and one side will lose light, and the other side won't. So I didn't think of calling or anything. It's just back then, I guess I wasn't as
on it, like
I guess like wise, I guess,
maybe,
yeah. So we finished our last customer, the hairstylist did, and all right, normally we would make them prepay. So they'd come at 7:45 or 8:45, whatever the time was, because we closed at 9. They'd come in at like 8:45, 8:50. Hey, do you mind paying for the service before she continues? They'd pay for the service so I could cash out, and then by the time the haircut's done, everything's done, and we can get out. So I thought it was a little interesting that it was closed, and I didn't see a sign. I couldn't see a sign or anything. So we closed up, and I drove by there by the building, and it just looked dark. But there was no sign like closed early or anything like that. So that was it. I went about my day. I went home, and the next day when I showed up for my shift, there was cops everywhere. There was caution tape everywhere. What had happened was that this is a woman's clothing store, okay? And what had happened was that some man, now this was before any of those laws and any of those things,
identity,
anything
pronouns,
like that. Yes, this was before that. Okay, we're talking like 20 years ago or so. And so a man had went in there. He wanted to try on some clothing, and their policy was anyone can try on anything. It doesn't matter. So the girl, like I said, she was a young girl too. So she let him try on the clothes. She gave him a key to the fitting room, gave him the clothes, and got distracted or whatnot. Forgot about him. And when he saw that it was clear, he decided to hold her at gunpoint, and he made her lock the door. They turned off the lights, assaulted her, robbed the place. Thank God she survived. She was okay. But it was very interesting. We're live. It was very interesting that had happened. It was awful. It was awful. And again, I felt kind of bad because I could have called, or I could have checked out on her. So that was a creepy story, was that if something doesn't feel right, doesn't seem right, just call. Hey, is everything okay?
And that's terrible because of that policy of the store.
And then again too, during this time too, it's just like my salon, it was just 2 people that would work there. We'd have a stylist and a receptionist, and then the clothing store, the girl would close by herself. Like after 5 o'clock, she was there alone. So I think they got better. They ended up having like, I think it was like a 3-person rule. We ended up having like a 3-person rule too, where you had to close with at least 3 people. But there were times in the salon where if we were really short staffed, you have to close by yourself.
Yeah.
Like the next story.
Right.
So this is another story. These are all hairstylist stories for tonight. And the next story was the time that we weren't working alone though. Remember? I had to close alone, but you stayed. Remember?
What is
When
this one?
they left the gate, the door. No, not before the gangster. The
Oh.
waster, the waster. So this story, I used to smoke back then, right? And this was at the salon, and we were short staffed. So I had to close. She had worked the shift in the day, and I had to close in the evening. And so I'm like, don't go home, dude. Like, just stay here and you'll just close again. I don't want to stay here alone. So anyway,
like sweeping up the shop.
So she was sweeping up the shop. It was me and her, and the other stylist that had worked with us, they had a bad habit because we were all smokers. They would leave the back door open. But the way it was we had the salon. You walk into the entrance, then you had the salon floor where you cut hair, and then there was another door that would take you to the back room where there was a bathroom, a washer dryer, and then there's the back door where you can exit. So they had the habit of closing the door from the salon to the workroom. They'd close that one so we couldn't see, but then they would leave the door open, the back door open.
Yeah.
So we were paying attention. We had the door closed. I just assumed that the last stylist had shut the door. So I'm doing haircuts. It was, I mean, again, these were busy shops during that time where you're just nonstop doing one after another after another. So she's helping me sweep. She's helping me like take the phone calls and stuff. And the last customer leaves and we're getting ready to like clean the shop. And I go to open the door to get the vacuum because we had to vacuum the receptionist area. And there's an officer. He scared the crap out of me. He was standing there, and I'm like, oh!
In the break room. That's where
which is our break room. And he's like, do you ladies realize that I've been standing here for the last 15 minutes? And we're like, what?
He's how?
Like,
how did you get in?
He's like, your door wasn't locked. He's like, I came around because I just happened to be driving by, and I noticed that your back door, everybody was gone. There was only one car, which was our car because we had to park in the back, right? And they're like, I just noticed one car, and I noticed that the door was open. He's like, so I came in here. Your bathroom door, he's like, somebody could have been hiding in your bathroom. Someone could have been hiding in your color closet. He's like, you ladies really need to double check on your last stylist. So he gave us a whole lecture that day, and I felt so scared and we were so stupid.
I know, because she just
happened to be there.
I didn't double check
and she didn't double check either. We were just under the impression like, oh, cool, last stylist left. So that was a creepy story because thank God it was an officer and not some weirdo.
Ever since then, we were just like always lock the doors, and then you have a conflict with other stylists. Like, no, leave it open. I need my cigarette break. Okay, well, when you're done, remember to lock it. And that was always the issue with the ladies.
Yes.
Always, I'm gonna go out there and go whatever, do out there. Yeah. Okay, well, when you come back, lock it. It's like, oh, that's too much work. Lock it, unlock it. And that's why we were so
we got in the habit of doing that after that. But what do you do when your staff member brings uninvited guests?
Right.
And the uninvited guest happens to be a wankster.
Yes.
Or should we not say wankster? Should we say gangster?
And I'm not sure. I'm a wankster. Come on.
Do you guys know what a wankster is? I would just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, tell them the story, Emily.
We're busy. Well, yes, we were busy. It was during.
Okay, so we worked the same shift that night.
So I would say this was like 5 o'clock, right? That's when we were getting people getting off from work. All right.
And that's usually the busy time, like from 5 to 9. I don't know how it is in a salon now hourly because we're not in the hourly salon anymore. But during that time, 5 o'clock, you clock into work and you're like nonstop cutting hair until 9 o'clock. And you usually have a receptionist. But sometimes the receptionists, usually in our experience, they have like a boyfriend or they have some kind of habit where they're making deals when you're doing your shift or whatever.
So like either they're lagging on the sweeping the hair,
or they're just like
not folding the towels, not doing the laundry.
So get to the story of it.
So I'm cutting hair. She's over here doing her haircut, and then this other stylist that was also cutting hair, she has her regular, so she was just nonstop with just doing her own thing. Then we have the receptionist. I just noticed the girl's like being on the, like, she was loud, so I'm not, she was like arguing like, I don't care. And then we're like looking, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then again, it gets all like, F you and F this, I don't care F. And then we're like, oh my gosh, this is so unprofessional.
Yes.
So we're just like looking over,
and we're like trying to finish. Yeah, you're trying to finish the customer. Like,
and then the music wasn't like too loud, so no, you can actually hear her conversation over the damn music. So I'm like cutting, and then the girl's just like, well, no, and this is it, and that's over. If this is over, then it's over.
Yes.
And I don't give a fuck. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. So then, that's it. Things were whatever. She was
The
just
phone
kind
call
of
ended.
yeah.
Our customers.
She went to the back. She
Yeah.
went to the back. Whatever. She was doing the laundry, whatever. And then we're just cutting hair. Everything was going smoothly until
until the door flies open.
Fucking
Okay,
the front
reception, the back door to the back room.
yes.
The door, like we were saying, the one that goes in from the back to that separates the salon from the staff room.
Yeah. Boom. And then the girl was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, blah, blah, blah. And back he's like, bitch, well, you hung up on me.
So
blah,
he's
blah, blah.
doing this in the
So,
middle
yes.
of the salon, literally, because
Oh, yeah.
there's stations on this side, there's stations on that side, and there's a walkway in the middle. He's in the middle of the walkway while I'm doing a customer, she's doing a customer, there's other customers waiting in the waiting area, and our receptionist is to the left of us, and he's performing a show.
Yeah. And then she like grabs him and he pulls her and they go into
Pulls
the
her
break
by
room.
the hair, drags her into
To the
back,
break room.
closes
And
the door.
boom, he slams the door.
And next thing you know, we just keep hearing, call the cops, call the
yeah, by the customers.
No, the girl screaming.
Well, she
"Call
kept
the-"
saying that, but then the guy in my chair was like, I'm an off-duty officer. I have a gun on me, blah, blah, blah. If I need to intervene, I'm like, well, you go ahead and do what you need. Get that guy out of here. But then the other stylist was like, no, we don't
need that.
Yes, like, no.
Because the girl's mom worked there
Yeah.
too. They both worked there, the mom too.
And everyone's
So-
just like, whatever.
So that left us like in a situation like, what do you do? Because you don't want to put anyone's
And
safety
then
at
look,
risk.
we're gonna have these complaints from these customers. They're gonna say,
right,
hey,
like,
your
what's going on
stylists are
with your
covering
salon,
for that
yes.
lady. What kind of shop are you guys running here?
So what
Say
we
that.
ended up doing, one of the customers, that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
They did call the police, and the police showed up, and they talked to the guy, they talked to the girl, and did they arrest him that day?
No, the girl didn't press charges.
But
remember?
I think they searched him.
they had to
And they found
because he
some
already had
stuff
some
on
stuff, and then the girl too.
So then
But
it got really strange because
she
then
was crying
the
for
girl
help
got
back there.
pissed off because then she thought that everyone in the salon was rumored thought that we were the ones who like called the
Like
police,
totally
that we
called
were
and
the
all
ones
that.
who whatever, and so it just became a very uncomfortable situation,
Hostile environment.
and so that's why I mean I don't know if it just happens in the salons or if it happens in other jobs as well, but yeah, so that's why friends and family sometimes
Right?
have to stay out of the business.
Yeah, and so that's why the guy also was like yelling at the girl, like, yeah, right. He's like, you're the one that called the police. You're the one that was crying for help. So yeah, that's what she was doing. So that's why I just don't get a lot of like relationships.
So
right?
be safe, everyone. Be safe again. If you're working somewhere where you have a back door and you have smokers or whatever, make sure that door's closed. Double check. Again, if you work with other businesses around your shopping center and something looks off, call and check on them because anything can happen. Just what else? Those are the main ones, right? Those are the main.
Yeah, I know it's not always good to bring your friends over to your workplaces.
Yes.
Someone gets out of line, then it makes you look bad. Working there. And,
because you got to remember, right? There's a professional world, and then there's like the.
And it's always good to
it's not about
keep
being
them
fake.
separated.
Yeah,
No.
it's not about being fake. It's about like.
And then you bring your partying to the job. That could be all bad as well. So.
That reminded me of another story, but I don't know if you're gonna remember that one. When stylists party together, and then they have a falling out.
Oh yeah, that's
another thing. This is another story. We didn't experience. We just got to watch it. It's not our story, but we noticed that
we have a couple of them. Though.
We have many of them,
right?
But this particular one, right? So we work again when you work with a bunch of women and stuff, right? Everyone tries to be like friends and like, oh, let's have a drink together. Oh, like, what are you into? What's your poison? Do you smoke? Let's smoke buddies or whatever. And so we had gotten invited to this dance. We all went dancing together, and the girls were like, well, let's all go in one car. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go in my car and we're going to go in our car. That way, like, whatever happens, if I have to leave, I have to leave. I don't want to be waiting on anybody. Especially, people start drinking and they get comfortable. Sometimes they get too comfortable and they wait till it simmers or whatever you want to call it, right? So anyway, so that particular evening, the other 4 girls went together in one car. So what do you think happens? They start drinking. They start talking about the manager. About the manager. And she's this and she's that. And so then, we're all sitting there at the same table. And then they start asking us, so what do you think? And I'm like, well, honestly, I don't really think anything. Like, I'm not going to get into that. I feel like she should be here. If she's not here, then we shouldn't be talking about her. That's what I feel. So we stayed a little longer. We ended up leaving. So come to find out, they got wasted. Everyone got wasted. They start fighting, like fist fighting, pulling each other's hair, calling each other out. Then by the next morning, the manager gets all these different texts from all the stylists.
Yeah.
So and so said this about you. So and so said that about you, and it was a very rough time in the salon.
Well, that goes with like the same story that happened, same exact thing when I worked there at this one, same exact thing. So say that lady, you know, starts texting all of us like, hey, so and so was talking about so and so. Well, then one of the stylists was like, oh, Emily was doing all the talking, and it's like, what? Yeah, and it was actually one stylist that had an issue with the other one, so it was them two. But somehow the other one that was really close with the lady was like, no, it was Emily saying all that when it wasn't even, it was not even true. So I'm like, well, you know what? If she has a problem, she can ask me. So I'm like, the other girl wasn't there. I guess the girl that was trying to say that it was me.
Didn't one of them end up?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, well, then fine. Well, she comes to work and she's gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
We're gonna have a talk.
So I'm like, because that's how you do it, not this bullshit back and forth. Like I didn't say shit about you. I'm like, bring her here. We're gonna talk about it. So I'm already ready here at this job. You know, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, this bitch gonna come in. All right. So next thing you know, the manager gets a phone call from that worker, and that supposedly the worker's like, I'm not going back. I'm not talking to Emily. I don't want any drama. I'm like, there's no drama here. You're saying when we were all there, you asked me my opinion about this person. I didn't say anything because I didn't have anything to say. I was a new employee there. And then they wanted to say that was me. So anyway, she quit. She didn't want to talk. I'm like, hey, we're just talking here. So she just didn't want to, and she had a falling out with that manager. Then the other lady also that was involved with that, was doing the whole talking shit. Her too. She quit the next day and she didn't want to talk to me. And I'm like, I had nothing.
So lesson learned.
Do with it.
Don't go drink with your coworkers. Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. You know, it can go bad. It can go so many different ways. And the ones that do it and build connections, good for you. But eventually, you might have a rough patch because things happen very differently when you're not at work.
And usually, again, remember that people are always going to want to throw it on you, even if you didn't say anything. If you were just there, or again, if people are going to ask you for your opinions, hey. I just tell them, hey, do you want the truth, or
you want me to sugarcoat it? You want to hear you want me to tell you what you want to hear,
or
do you want
we just tell them, hey, I don't like talking about people when they're not around,
yes.
or you know how it is. But that was that one. What's the other one?
I think those were all for tonight.
Yeah, those were those.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, it's pretty dark now. Look at this. Pretty dark.
Yeah.
So we're gonna head out, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate everyone's time.
We got the StreamYard. We're gonna try it out. We're not sure how to use it yet because nobody left a comment or anything, so we weren't able to like check it. And I don't know if you guys have to push join.
Yeah, we're still figuring
we're still trying to figure it out. But hopefully, if you guys if we decide to continue with the StreamYard and you guys do want to join us, we're gonna have some set rules, guys, a little bit different than probably what you're used to. But we're going to give everyone 3 minutes. You have to show your face. Please no drinking or smoking while you're live with us. It's just, again, this is just our rules, you know, and they're kind of like that in real life too, you know, to each his own. But we're just going to try to keep it professional here, and we're going to give everyone 3 minutes. That way, whoever wants something to say or just a rant or a rave or whatever you guys want to call it, then you got 3 minutes. You can say a lot in 3 minutes.
Or tell a Spooktember story, a creepy story.
Or any story or something. Or if you guys want to create a different, our goal, at least my goal, I don't know about hers, is this is good. This helps people improve their, what do we say? What did we talk about? Communication skills? And what else was it? Personal speaking, or what was it? Public speaking.
Yes.
Public speaking. Maybe it'll encourage you guys to where you feel comfortable, and then you guys can do it on your own.
Yeah.
You know, why not? We're trying to finish out the year in a positive way. Because this year sucked for us.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys again. What else? Happy Sunday to everybody. ¿Qué más? Happy Sunday. If you're driving, don't drink. If you're drinking, don't drive. And
use protection, and you know, don't get yourself involved in chismes. If it doesn't involve you, stay out of people's business.
Yes.
But like we've said, you know, sometimes
and if you do get involved, then no takesy backsy.
Yeah, and like I said, usually, like if you are involved, you do say something about anything, like you're hanging out with people, and there's a subject that comes up, and you do speak on it. You know, people might throw you under the bus, and don't be afraid to stand your ground if confronted. Because a lot of people don't like.
It's too dark over there.
A lot of people don't like confrontation, and it could be scary for those who've never really had a confrontation.
Yes, it can be.
Uncomfortable, definitely, but that's growth. when you stand up for yourself and you're face to face with someone or whatever,
Or
addressing
other people
them
who just,
directly,
they don't agree.
right?
Yes.
So that's it. It helps you grow to do
Positive
that. So,
mind growth, right? What do they call it? Growth mindset. That's what it's called.
yes.
Growth mindset. All right,
Yes.
everybody. Well, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much and enjoy your Sunday.